Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our July 10th, 2023 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including whether or not there'll be an origin recap in Superman Legacy. We're going to be talking about the first two episodes of My Adventures with Superman, talking action figures, comic books, and so much more. We're also going to turn to you to ask for your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss, and to let you know how all that works, how you can get involved in tonight's show. Let me introduce you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Doing well, and yourself?
I am doing fine.
Great. You
Pretty
melting
much.
this week? Still melting?
It is. It is very warm. I have a fan on me right now, so if you hear a little whooshing in the back, I'm trying to keep the microphone away from it as much as humanly possible. But yeah, it's warm, especially in this room. So, but no one wants to hear about me being hot or you being cold. You mean you took your beanie off before we actually started the show? So. But there it is, back on. Very good. No, what the people watching Superman Homepage Live want to hear us talk about is Superman. And because they are watching us live right now on a variety of platforms, we want to hear from them. One of the ways they can do that is to call in the show. Because if we don't have much to talk about halfway through the show, we do take calls. And all you have to do is go to supermanhomepage.com/live and press the call now button, and that'll put you in the green room. You can also, if you want to use your smartphone, use the QR code that's right next to me. You scan that. Either way, two things. One, if you are using an external speaker, you're going to want to mute that because we are on a bit of a delay and that can screw things up. If you use your phone, you want to use your headset, AirPods, whatever you want to use, because if you just use the external mic, it really sounds weird and we get this real crackling thing.
Yes, and if you're a little bit shy and you don't want to get on the phone or on the call, don't want to call us tonight, then feel free to participate in the comments there, both on Facebook and on YouTube. There's already guys in there like Ian Sweeney, JP Rocha, Nostalgic Podblast, Butts and Enterprises, and so many others are already tuning in, chatting with us on the comments there. So feel free to participate there. Michael and I will keep an eye on that feed to react to your comments or questions as the show goes along. And if you'd like your question or comment featured on the screen during the show, that's called a super chat via YouTube. All you do is click the dollar symbol there on YouTube. A slider appears on your screen. You decide on a dollar amount you're willing to donate. We will feature your comment or question live on the screen as we go along. And speaking of sponsors and patrons, thank you to Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray for supporting the show. And you can join those fine folks and help support the Superman Homepage Live show by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage, or you can click the join button on YouTube. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks. All right, so let's get into tonight's show. As I mentioned at the top, we start with movie news, and with Superman Legacy production underway, with the casting having been announced, as we spoke about quite extensively last week. James Gunn has confirmed that the movie will not include an origin story. He was asked about it on his new Blue Sky social media account, and asked, could they use the 2 pages of All-Star Superman as an origin for the movie? Let's just do that. And he said, I think we've seen this origin enough in film at this time. So it doesn't sound like we'll be getting any of this type of stuff in Superman Legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if there is any kind of hints at it, it'll be some kind of flashback or something. Because if the early discussions around the movie were as him reconciling being human and Kryptonian, so there may be some like reference to it. But I'm kind of good with this. I think that even though it has been, and by the time this movie comes out, it'll be 12 years since Man of Steel came out, Superman is one of those origins that people know.
Yeah.
This isn't like other characters that don't have as much exposure in pop culture. So I think just diving in and getting into a Superman movie is probably the best way to go, because that way you're not eating up screen time dealing with the origin.
Yeah, I think as some people have commented, it could be done just during the opening credits. Just kind of snippets. Krypton exploding, the rocket in space. As the credits are coming up at the beginning of the film. I don't want to see a whole production of credits like in Superman the movie where every name comes through. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything like that, but just if a split second here or there, just a couple of frames of the basic origin, that would be enough in my books. But as you say, if he is trying to reconcile his human side with his Kryptonian heritage, then they do need to allude to the fact that he did come from another planet somehow. For those
Hmm.
who might not know the full story.
Yeah, but no, it's a good move because now we can just focus on establishing the new Superman. We don't have to worry about his first appearance or anything like that. I honestly, I think Superman and Lois is one of those things I point to, or even Tyler Hoechlin's appearances on Supergirl, that people kind of respond to him just being in role already.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think a general audience really cares about seeing Superman getting used to the job. They just want to see him on the job.
Yeah. No, fair enough too. And yeah, so we wait to see what happens there with Superman Legacy as they move forward with the production. Blue Sky social media account. I don't know much about Blue Sky, but wow, we're just getting social media like new platforms. Threads now with Instagram and Facebook's or Meta, whatever they're calling themselves. Trying to do a Twitter version with Twitter limiting things at the moment. It's a mess.
Well, there's a lot going on at Twitter, and there has been since a certain person bought it. And I think people are really trying to search for that. Now, to be fair, we've gone through like 15 deaths of Twitter.
Yes.
I remember like last year at one
Yep.
point, everybody was like saying goodbye, and it was
Yep.
just like, and then like the next day, it was still there.
Still going.
So it's kind of like in the 1800s when like a supposed prophet would say the end of the world's going to be on this
Yes.
day, and then it doesn't happen, and everyone's just like, okay, we're still here.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of how
So
I feel.
yeah, I remember at the time, signing up on Mastodon and all these, the other alternatives. And Threads is just the latest one, and a lot of people are just jumping over there just in case, or doing it as well. The fact that you can use your Instagram account just to quickly create a Threads account
Oh
makes
yeah,
it
it
makes it
was
handy.
super easy.
Yeah, but it's just like another one. Like, how many platforms can I be posting on just to be sharing our information everywhere? But yes, while Twitter continues, it still remains, I think, top dog on that kind of
Hmm.
side of social media. I mean, obviously, Facebook and Instagram do their own thing as well, but um, it's it is what it is. But anyway, speaking
Yep.
of the movie side of things, the if you're in the is it Leighton? Is it? I think it's. How do you pronounce this? You're better than I am on these pronunciations. Is
Lee
that
Heighton.
Lehighton? Okay, and that's
Lee
in
Heighton. Yeah.
Pasadena,
Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania. Why do they have a PA? Shouldn't
because
it be
that's the
PE?
state code for Pennsylvania.
Oh, I don't know. So yeah, there it is. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. So if you're in that area, then the Mahoning Drive-In Theatre is presenting a special 45th anniversary screening of Superman the movie on Thursday, July 20th, in 35 millimeter. It's $8 per person for general tickets. I think kids under 4 get in free, and there are obviously other prices for different age groups as well. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I've been to a drive-in once, but not the biggest fan of drive-in theaters. Depending on how your stereo system is in your car, I guess.
It's weird though, because Lehighton is not a big city. That's about 30 miles north of where I grew up.
Okay.
Uh, and it's not like, well, if you ask my wife, it's all one big city. Um, just because of how they have their boroughs and their small hamlets set up. But that's I'm guessing they just have a drive-in out there that they were able to put this on. So when I saw Lee Heighton, I was like, that's random.
Hmm. Yeah, that just kind of popped up, so that was interesting. In the comments, someone's asking, Mind the Gap, saying, didn't someone post the inspirations for Superman Legacy? Yeah, DC on their social media accounts have posted, or did post a thing. I'm trying to look for it now on some of the graphic novels that are supposedly the inspiration for Superman Legacy. I think for the most part they're just trying to sell some graphic novels.
Yeah.
I can't find it at the moment, but obviously some of the ones that were mentioned were off the top of my head. Obviously, All Star Superman was one of them.
Superman Brainiac.
Superman Brainiac. So there are a few in there that they're just promoting. So whether or not they are directly inspirations for the upcoming film is still for speculation. I don't know how many of the people at DC, especially their social media account managers, would have knowledge of the full script for Superman Legacy. That thing would be pretty locked up tight. So I don't know just how official that list might be.
Yeah, that's they're like you said, they're probably just wanting to sell some books, which is
Yeah.
fair. I mean,
Yeah,
it's their job.
exactly. So yeah, just keep that in mind. All right, so moving along, that's the movie side of things. Television. My Adventures with Superman, the new animated series, debuted last Thursday night on Adult Swim at midnight. And then the next day, Friday, it was available on Max streaming service. You've watched both opening episodes?
Yep, absolutely. Watched them last night and then watched them again today
Oh, cool.
because Rachel had missed a few things when we were watching it last night. So I absolutely loved it. I think it is quirky. It is definitely a different take, but it's still Superman. So I'd compare it kind of. It's almost like Lois and Clark for kids,
Mm-hmm.
because it is definitely geared to a younger audience, but it's got enough broad appeal that I think older audiences can get it too. It's very anime inspired,
Yes.
uh, especially them getting the blushy faces or whatever. I'm sure there's a term for that. Uh, and there's romance right away. Kind of bold to have them all being interns, but still it kind of works. And I really like, they set up a mystery right away. Clark still can't understand Kryptonian. That's
Yep.
kind of a different. That's different. I mean, because I thought for sure that in the second time when they did the as people kept saying the Sailor Moon
Reveal.
costume transformation, um, that would be where when he grabs his head that would be where it was. It is a little weird that he has like electrical energy around him when his powers really kicked in. But again, I don't mind because this isn't trying to be a comic book faithful adaptation. It's kind of an anime take on it. But yeah, I liked everything about it.
Yeah, I think the kind of the electrical thing is kind of more of like a graphic indicator that something is happening,
Hmm.
rather than anything, you know, electrical actually happening. I think it's more of like, well, I'm powering up kind of sizzle type of thing about. But you mentioned the transformation or the it's not necessarily the transformation, but the acquiring of the costume. Because people are
Hmm.
going, what's this? I've seen some people on social media going, oh, is he Sailor Moon? And okay, I understand that there is, a comparison there to be drawn, but he doesn't do this every time he becomes
Yeah.
Superman. You still get the shirt rip. It's still Clark Kent with the costume underneath. This is how he acquires the costume for the very first time in the fortress, whatever you want to call it, that his ship, whatever it is, that's under the ground there. Here it is. So if you're not sure what's going on.
I
Whoops.
I think this needs something more. A belt? Definitely shorts.
You don't think people will recognize me?
So there you have it. That was the transformation. Not the transformation, the acquiring of the suit.
yes. I think the thing that kind of surprised me the most was how Martha, one, that he's calling them Ma and Pa.
Yeah.
Like that, I was just like, wow, I didn't think we were allowed to do that anymore. I thought the Smallville Accords of 2003 made that impossible. um, but no, but the fact that she was like really resistant to him learning about where he came from because she was afraid she was going to lose him. I thought that
Mm.
was really kind of sweet.
Yeah, it's very
I
touching.
like Mom Pa in this. Pa especially. He's seems to have a really good sense of humor. Um, and I honestly just enjoyed myself. It's really weird that we're in this kind of golden age of Superman again, where the comics are great. We've got a great live action television show. Now we've got a great animated series. We got a new live action movie to look forward to. We have not had this in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I don't know how to act, because it's not like Batman fans that get something on the regular.
Yeah. That's so true. And you can tell that there's so much love and care that's gone into this animated series. Yes, they're doing their own take. They're going off script, if you like, with them being interns all at the same time. They're with the ship being under the, and it's interesting because the first time he sees it as a kid, and then when he comes back as an adult, they all seem to think that it's grown, that it's larger. So what's happening there? I'm not sure. Why is it growing? People in the comments are saying it looks like the ship's big enough to fit the whole of Kandor, let alone the whole. Why didn't his parents join him? We don't know what it was at first, or how we haven't got that. We haven't seen necessarily that ship and why they buried it and how it. We don't, and then why it's grown. We don't know any of that yet. So what's happening underground at this point is kind of still a mystery because Clark still really hasn't explored that whole Kryptonian heritage part of it. He's been very reluctant because as a kid it kind of scarred him and he was very scared of the whole situation and not being able to understand this scary man with an eye patch, and what's going on there and finding out that you're not actually human is a lot to take in for a kid.
Yeah, you touched on something that I think really was kind of my takeaway too, is that there's a lot of love and care to this show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they dropped references to Louise Simonson, Dan Jurgens, and John Bogdanov.
Yep.
Right in the first episode, we have the News Kid Legion with different versions of the Newsboys. I just love the fact that it's written so smartly. We began the first episode with young Clark hovering over Smallville and looking at it, and at the end of the episode there was a shot of Superman doing the same thing in Metropolis, and it was just kind of neat mirrored bit of storytelling. I did, the only thing that tripped me was that Jimmy called him Kansas at one point. And I'm like, it's only 198 miles away. Like, is Metropolis in another state? And it's 98 miles away from, is it in like Missouri or something? Which would kind of make sense if they're on the docks. You have Metropolis be on a river. But no, it's just, I just liked all of it. I liked the fact that he didn't have the costume in the first episode. I liked that his they did a lot of really old school things, but it didn't feel outdated, like him getting knocked to the side and then going into action. And I was just like, that, as my wife pointed out, what are those dock worker outfits made of that they're able to withstand like laser blasts and such? when it's cutting things in half, which she's absolutely right about. But no, it's just it was fun, and I think that's why there was a certain segment on social media that reacted so negatively to it, because there's a segment that doesn't want Superman to be fun.
Hmm.
I don't understand it, but yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable, and it was for a broad audience. It wasn't for a very narrow set of fans. It was basically for everybody, from somebody just discovering Superman to old school fans. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, they what is it? It's a very broad church. Is that how I want to say that?
Yeah, no, fair enough. That makes sense. It's a not a bad way of putting it. And there was new versions of Leslie Willis, and this whole robotic tech, this whole high tech stuff that's being that was stolen by Leslie and her crew, and how you'll see in the future episodes how it's infiltrating the rest of Metropolis and the underworld figures, and when you got Slade Wilson and Amanda Waller. And this general that's that.
Oh, that's got to be General Lane. That's got to be Lois's dad.
Well, I mean, I've watched a few more episodes moving forward because I've got advanced screeners, and I haven't actually called him anything other than the general. So
okay.
But Task Force X, and just the whole thing going on there with this technology, and so yeah, it's really it. I really enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying the other episodes that I've seen, which you'll get the third episode this coming Thursday night. Is it Friday morning technically, or is it Thursday morning?
That's a complicated question because it depends on what you consider tomorrow to be. If you don't go to bed until after the show's over, it's not tomorrow.
So if
technically
it's 12:01 a.m., say we're looking at 1 minute past midnight is the next day. I mean, 12 o'clock is actually the next day, but is it Friday morning or is it Thursday morning?
I would probably more say it's Friday morning. Okay. And then later in the day, it'll be available on Max.
Okay, so you're sitting up Thursday night, and then it hits midnight, and you're watching the show. So it's technically Friday morning. And then a couple of hours later, it's available on Max for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that's how it works.
Cool. All right, because when it says Thursday midnight, I started my timer at Thursday morning midnight, as in 12 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. But someone said, no, your timer, your countdown clock is 24 hours ahead of time. And I'm thinking, well, technically Thursday midnight is, okay, fair enough. Then it's actually Friday morning, 12 o'clock in the morning. Okay, I get it. So, I mean, it's not hard enough that I've got to do all this, international time zone stuff. You got to make me figure out what you're going to do at 12 a.m., whether that's Thursday, Friday, or some other day.
I wish I had an explanation for you. I really don't. And I'm sorry.
That's all good. So, very early Friday morning, it's what I'm going with, is the next episode, and it will let's have a look at the promo for this third episode.
Late. I'm so late.
On the next all-new episode of My Adventures with Superman.
Oh, Lois, are you okay? I got you coffee.
I really need this after the morning I've had. I've been trying to interview Superman, but he keeps running away. Seriously, what is that guy so scared of?
Maybe he doesn't want you to find out all the secrets and publish them?
Yeah, but he doesn't know that's my plan.
My Adventures with Superman. All new next Thursday at midnight on Adult Swim. Next day on Max.
So there you have it. Lois is adamant to get that interview with Superman, and obviously Clark has other ideas.
Yeah, and I love Lois in this. I really do. I think it is the perfect balance of being driven but being a decent human being.
Mm.
She lied to Jimmy and Clark, but she at least apologized for it.
And technically, Clark is lying to her.
Yeah. And the way they're dealing with the romance is kind of cute, too. I feel Jimmy's like the perpetual third wheel at the end of that episode. the second one. So
Yes, and you'll see that escalate as we move forward. So, and before I go too far about Superman, my adventures with Superman, on next week's show, exclusively here on Superman Homepage Live, we will be interviewing the creator of the animated theme for My Adventures with Superman. We will be talking with Kyle Troop, who is obviously the Kyle Troop of Kyle Troop and the Heretics, who are the band that came up with the theme song for My Adventures with Superman, the song, the music that you hear at the beginning of every episode when the title comes up. We will be speaking to Kyle here on Superman Homepage Live next week on July 17th. So make sure you tune in for our interview with Kyle Troop from Kyle Troop and the Heretics.
I was a little disappointed that we didn't have kind of an old school intro.
Like a march.
Yeah, like, well, not that, just like an opening credit sequence.
Oh, okay.
Instead of what all shows do nowadays, which is just, flash the name of the show and then get back to it.
Yeah, it's a bit of like a stinger, really, isn't it? It's not really...
Yeah.
Do I have that? I think I've got that stinger. Let me have a look. I do have it somewhere here. This is the stinger, or kind of the intro, the opening for My Adventures with Superman. I think I have it somewhere. Here we go. Whoops. Drag on. Here we go. So there you have it. That was the theme. We'll be speaking, obviously there's more of it, so we'll be speaking to Kyle Troop next week on Superman Homepage Live. Looking forward to chatting with him about the whole process. So if you do have questions, folks, if you want to know anything in particular about what Kyle Troop and the Heretics did, or how they got into it, or any questions that you might have, feel free to email your questions to me, info@supermanhomepage.com. Just title your email Kyle Troop questions, and any questions that you would like to submit for our interview, I'm happy to try to include them when Michael and I chat with Kyle next week on Superman Homepage Live.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Cool. So yeah, that's My Adventures with Superman. As I said, the third episode is titled My Interview with Superman, and it will air on Friday, July 14th at 12 a.m. in the morning, and it will be available to stream on Max later that day. And in this interview, Lois wants to interview Superman. Sorry, in this episode, Lois wants to interview Superman, and Clark must figure out how to help her while protecting his secret identity. Meanwhile, criminal ring Intergang gets their hands on unstable weapons, and a mysterious organization plots in the shadows. Dun, dun, dun. So,
yeah, I was about to say.
My Adventures with Superman. I'm glad to see so many people are enjoying it. If you haven't checked it out yet, do yourself a favor. It's on Max. You won't be disappointed. Just go in with an open mind that it is obviously an all-ages animated series. Don't take it too seriously. Enjoy the characters for what they are, and I'm sure you will have fun.
So amusingly, the model, the image of Lois looks a lot like a character from a Disney show called The Owl House.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife kind of dips into the Owl House fandom, and apparently there has been much discussion on how everyone is assuming, or there are some people that are wanting Lois to actually be that character.
Is it Luz or Luz or L-U-Z?
Loose. Yeah. I just found it like kind of charming, like this whole other group of people, just because she kind of looks like that character, they're wanting to like have some kind of connection between the two. So
yeah, it is funny. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that too. I'm thinking, I don't even know who this other character is, but I can see the similarity in designs. And I guess there's a friend of hers who's also a black character that's similar to Jimmy in this show. So
Yep.
people are drawing comparisons.
There's on a very superficial level, no
Okay.
pun intended.
Yes.
There are certain. Yeah, I guess he does kind of look like that. I'm gonna have to point that out to Rachel when we're done with the show. That's gonna be funny.
So there you have it. My Adventures with Superman. Make sure you get into it. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and Michael seems to as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely go check it out. All right, we're at the halfway point of tonight's show. We're going to play a couple of messages, come back on the flip side to do This Week in History, our fan favourite segment, and also get into the comic books and action figures that have been announced this week. We'll be back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
No monstrous news ever happens around here until now, because with Kenner's Superpowers collection, I've got my biggest story yet. This free offer. For 5 proofs to purchase from any of these guys folks separately, like Superman, you get a free figure, not yet available in any store. Who is it? My buddy Clark Kent. And check it out. Clark's got power action just like Superman. Superman?
Hurry. Offer will end. Details on specially marked packages.
What? Superman?
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live. Good to see Mark McClure there talking about action figures. There was an old ad for those action figure line. All right, let's get into This Week in History. Here is your intro, Michael.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Yeah, this is going to be a really quick one this week, folks. We're jumping all the way ahead to 1973 with a 100-page super spectacular DC 21, which is another Superboy 100-page spectacular, which has a lot of really cool backup features with the Legion and Supergirl and the new the Teen Titans. That looks like a fun book.
Yeah.
Also, that same time period, Superman's Girlfriend Lois Lane number 134. I guess people like to play with action figures in their own way. That's all we're going to say about that. Jumping ahead to 1983, we have Superman number 388. It's a cute Gil Kane cover. Like the kid wearing an actual pair of shorts over his jeans. That's kind of adorable. 1993, we are still deep into the reign of the Superman. We have Action Comics Annual number 5, which was the first Superman book written by Jeff Loeb. The first appearance of a character named Loose Cannon, who is legally not the Hulk. That same week, Superman, the Man of Steel number 25 came out with that very iconic cover. and you know that they had not yet decided to make his hair long because his hair is still short on the cover. 2003, we have Adventures of Superman number 618, still continuing into Joe Casey's very kind of weird and Silver Age-ish with a 21st century spin run. Also that same week, Superman and Batman Generations 3, number 7, which is, I think, where we discover Superman's kind of a deadbeat dad, if I'm remembering that story correctly. And then in 2013, we have Justice League number 22, which is the start of Trinity War, which was a big deal because that led into Forever Evil. We also have Smallville season 11, number 15, with Doomsday on the cover. And Superman Unchained number 2. Yes, on time this month. Will that continue? Well, we're going to see on that. In the real world, on July 10th, which is today, it was Joe Shuster's birthday. He was born in 1914.
And for those who don't know, he was the co-creator of Superman.
You know, I guess I had to say that, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm gonna give that to them. And on July 11th, tomorrow, Michael Rosenbaum, probably one of the most popular Lex Luthors of all time, was born in 1972, and amazingly, that is it for this week in history.
Yeah, very short week. Nothing in the first nothing in the 40s, nothing in the 50s, nothing in
the 60s.
60s.
Nope.
Wow. So we jumped straight into the 70s when you started with that. So, yeah, a very interesting week. And happy birthday to Michael Rosenbaum, who celebrates his birthday this week, as you mentioned. All right, let's get into the fan favourite question of our show. We had quite a few people respond, and a couple of late entries. I had to send you the list late again because we had a few last minute entries. But here is the fan favourite segment of our show. All right, so our fan favourite question from last week was, what is your favourite Ed McGuinness Superman image? And we had quite a few responses to this one. Who did we start with first?
We have J.P. Rocha, who wrote, my favorite Ed McGuinness Superman image is from Superman Volume 2, issue 166. And then he said, let there be muscle.
Yeah. Very cool. Yes, that's... what were you going to say?
That was when we freaked out as a fandom, because they seemed to be wanting to go back to the Silver Age origin, and there were 1,000 nerds on the internet that said no. So yeah, I will always think of that story as that.
There you have it. So next up we had Luke Lizalde, who wrote in and said, I know you asked for one image, but I would like to cheat and submit Wizard Magazine's basic training with Ed McGuinness on how to draw Superman. For those who have not read this tutorial, there are a few points of interest. Number one, Ed's drawings were hugely inspired by Superman the Animated Series. He gives all credit to Bruce Timm and the gang. Case in point, the way he draws Superman's underoos. Clark has relaxed eyes and Superman has squinty eyes. That's an interesting differentiation. His cape never drapes over his shoulders. That is Batman's gig. And one last thought, this could be a fun challenge for Superman fans. Read this tutorial and submit your drawings of Superman, says Luke. So thank you, Luke. That's very cool. Always good to see the inside of how certain artists portray Superman. So yeah, I love Ed McGuinness' style. It's not for everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed his style.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, who's up next?
Up next is Ryan Ignatius Pratt, who said, my favorite Ed McGuinness cover would be from Superman number 165. I use it every year as my social media profile photo come Christmas time.
Very nice, very cute. Yes, Superman and Lois having a look at their Christmas decorations. Next up, we have Alexander, who writes in saying, my favourite Superman art is from Ed McGuinness, is and has always been the cover of Superman number 154. It's also one of my ultimate favourite images of Superman. Cheers to you and all the work you both put every week into the show. Thank you very much, Alexander.
Yeah, I love that one too. That's
Really?
my favorite.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Mo Walker. Go ahead.
I said I wouldn't have guessed, considering you sent me this very same image for your
Yes,
inclusion. But we'll get to that in a second.
Mo Walker wrote, my favorite Ed McGuinness cover from his Superman run was the regular cover from Superman number 166. I think McGuinness really hit a stride with our Worlds at War storyline. In particular, the interior artwork from issue 172, in which Superman is fighting Imperiex, attached is sample page. McGuinness' Superman was a marriage between the Extreme Studios image style with Superman the animated series. That's fair.
Yes, yeah, very cool. And you submitted your own image, which was the exact same one, without the dressing for the cover of Superman number 154. Funnily enough, it was going to be the same image that I was going to select as my favorite Ed McGuinness image. I don't think I have it at the moment, but I had this as a poster that was on my wall for the longest time until I redecorated my room and had more shelving put in. Now I don't have as much wall space for posters anymore, but I definitely have this as a poster from back in the day.
Which is funny because, and we got one more to get to, but it's funny to me because I wasn't a really big fan of his at first.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it really grew on me really quickly, and I think it also had to do with the fact that Superman as the title was my favorite title from this time period because I really loved the way Jeff Loeb was writing him.
Yeah.
So when you combine those two, it just becomes kind of the iconic early 21st century Superman to me.
Yeah, very true. I agree. Butts and Enterprises in the comments says, when are we going to get an actor who looks like Superman as McGuinness draws him? I think we got very close with Henry Cavill because he has that muscular, buff, ripped, and, had the, a very similar kind of facial structure. I mean, we got the Superman structure as far as the face is concerned. So I think Henry Cavill would come close to being the Ed McGuinness style Superman. I do see obviously the animated series inspiration with the shorts, the way that they're drawn black with a red highlight, is also a very cool feature of Ed McGuinness' style. Lastly, as you said, we've got one from Chance Bartels, who wrote in and commented last week and asked if we could show just some cool comic covers that he, as a fan, enjoys. He says, on a separate topic, here are 5 images of Action Comics, Superman, and Supergirl comic books from my collection. So he'll just go through a couple of the ones that Chance sent through, which are some very cool and iconic covers that he would like to bring to fans' attention. So here are 5 that he sent. He sent some extra ones just before the show, which I haven't been able to upload. But thank you, Chance, for sending those through. Some cool images. So appreciate you sharing those.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our new fan favorite question along the similar topic, but with an artist who's probably not as well known, although still a very popular artist in his own right. What is your favorite Steve Rude Superman image? So yes, send your entries to our email address, info@supermanhomepage.com. What is your favorite Steve Rude Superman image? There's an email coming right through. Look, Michael's just getting them. They're just coming through right now. His phone's going nuts. So info@supermanhomepage.com, and we will show those Steve Rude images when we return to this segment next week. So get involved. All right, so that's the fan favorite segment of our show. Let's get into the comic book side of things, since we're talking about comic book artists. And it was a bit of a weird week because DC, I wasn't sure if this next issue of Superman Lost was going to be coming out, but this is what you can look forward to if you are a fan of Superman comic books, reading comics this week. This is what we've got. I mentioned this one only because there's Multiversity Harley screws up the DCU number 5. It's just a variant cover that I thought I might make mention of, obviously paying homage to the Superman versus Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man cover from back in the day, with Harley in the place of the favorite neighborhood spider. But so that is a variant cover that you might be interested in. But out this week also is Night Terrors #1. So this is the start of the big event from DC, and that is available in a couple of different variant covers, including this one that Superman is on the cover of. And then you've also got, and I wasn't sure if it was coming out this week because it just didn't seem to be promoted that well, but Superman Lost #5 of 10 is out this week. Not that a lot of fans are continuing to read this because it has fallen away. A lot of confused people going, what the hell are we reading? But it is supposedly coming out tomorrow, July 11th. And there is also a hardcover collection of DC Mech, if you're interested in that. So that's what's out this week for Superman comic book fans.
Yeah, we're going to have a really light couple of months.
Yes.
With really only the Superman specials and some collected editions to highlight, which I'm a little disappointed in because I caught up last week on everything and I was just like, this is fantastic. I'm loving it. Now I got to wait 2 more months until the next issue.
Yeah, because Night Terrors is obviously taking over the company-wide line of, and there will be tie-ins and things that with those books, and writers getting involved in that event. But yeah, you're right. The main books do go on a bit of a hiatus while Night Terrors takes over the line of books being published. But as I mentioned, and as our graphic for tonight's show promoted, there are a number of Superman action figures that have been promoted this week from McFarlane Toys, and one of them in particular is the new McFarlane Toys Hush Superman figure. And people are going, well, didn't they already do a Hush figure? I kind of recall there being one already, but this is the new one that they're promoting, or they're just taking pre-orders for now. The DC Multiverse Superman Hush 7-inch scale action figure. It is available. It's got the S on the back of the cape, much to people's
That's nice.
Enjoyment. But yes, this is available in a display window box. We've got a couple of different hands that are available, and you can purchase this through our website for $19.99 US, which is not unreasonable.
Nope. The head sculpt's a little weird, but the McFarlane head sculpts have been really weird lately. I'm just wondering what is with that jaw.
And supposedly these like the images that they usually post are their what's the word for it? It's the it's not the final figure,
mold?
like the mold or the display one, or of course, remember we were looking at the ones last week or the week before with the 2-pack with Superman and Ultraman. And we're going, what is with that Superman sculpt? And the actual real thing has been released, and it doesn't look as bad as what we saw in the promo images. So there is that to be taken into consideration. But if you are interested in this Hush action figure, then we encourage you to use the links at the Superman homepage. Those links are affiliate links where we do get kickbacks. We get a percentage of the sale. It doesn't cost you any extra. You still pay the same amount. We just get a percentage of the sale. So if you want to support the Superman homepage, that is a great way to do it when you're purchasing your merchandise. Any of the links that we put up on our website are usually affiliate links. So we get a kickback while you don't pay any extra, but you're still supporting the Superman homepage at the same time. So it's a great way to ensure that you can support the Superman homepage by clicking those links found at our website. Don't just go directly to the promoter or the producer of the items. Click the links through our website. As I said, it costs you nothing extra, but you are supporting us in the same way when you do that. Now, the other action figure will be available exclusively through San Diego Comic-Con, and that is the McFarlane Toys Superman 85th Anniversary Edition action figure. Now, this is a bit of a weird one. You'll be going, what's with the color scheme? What's going on there? But it is designed to look like this logo, this 85th anniversary graphic that DC have been promoting. As you can see, it's all in shade, it's in shadow. It's actually from an old comic book cover that they've used this image again. But yeah, so they're trying to replicate that, but it's just odd.
It looks like the paint just got smeared on it. Um, yeah, it's just some things don't translate to 3 dimensions. Um, and this is one of them. I appreciate that they're wanting to do like a gold, one of the gold label figures, and they're kind of making a big deal of it, and that it's not like just another Batman figure. I get that. I like that. I think it's an interesting idea. It's just in execution, it in the wrong light, it's just going to look really strange.
Yeah, it is bizarre choice, but anyway, it's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. McFarlane Toys will be part of the DC booth at San Diego Comic-Con, so this action figure, which is a 7-inch scale action figure with 22 moving parts for full range of posing and play. Superman is featured in a special classic red and blue deco. Includes flight stand and backdrop with Superman's 85th anniversary logo and a special base. Includes collectible art card with character art on the front and certificate of authenticity on the back. As I said, it's exclusively available at San Diego Comic-Con, and then no doubt will be going for exorbitant prices on eBay later on.
Yeah, and they really need to push these kind of things because there's not going to be any Hollywood at San Diego this year.
No.
The actors are about to go on strike, and they're going to not be able to go promote anything. And in fact, they're being asked by the union just not go at all.
Wow.
So it's weird that it's actually going to be about the comics again.
Yeah. You will see at DC, they will be promoting and obviously doing the premiere of Justice League Warworld. So there will be some non-comic stuff happening. So the animated movie will premiere there at San Diego Comic-Con, as will the new superpowered DC story documentary. So I see that's going to be premiering on TV, even here in Australia next week. So looking forward to seeing that 3-part documentary on the legacy of DC. Superpowered is what it's called. So, but yeah, it will be interesting to be mostly comic-related material at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
Go figure.
It's going to be a different year.
Definitely. Something that caught my eye on YouTube. I don't know how I stumbled across this because it was only had 7 views at the time, and I'm actually going to have a look at where they're at the moment with their views since we've been promoting it. It's gone up to 225 views since I saw it, and so you might not have seen this. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, obviously, for copyright reasons. But this this wooden sculpture YouTube channel posted a 3.5-minute video showing how this skilled craftsman brings Superman to life in wood, sculpting Superman with precision and passion, using things like a chainsaw. Have a look at this. This is impressive. And I will skip through the video because obviously I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I want to give you an insight into what he's doing here. Have a look at this very interesting video.
Welcome back to my channel. Get ready to join me on a captivating journey as we witness the creation of an extraordinary wooden sculpture that brings Superman, the iconic superhero, to life. Choosing a suitable wood block, the sculpture pastes a drawing of Superman onto its surface, setting the stage for transformation. Despite the flooded workshop, the sculptor perseveres, using a large wood stick as an improvised hammer to carve the sculpture, capturing the determination and unwavering spirit of the Man of Steel.
Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah. So, yeah, well done. You can watch that whole video at our website if you want to check it out in full. But, yeah, very ingenious way of doing it and then lighting it up from the inside and all that kind of stuff. So, well done to that gentleman involved. So, that was a pretty cool find.
Absolutely. I don't know how they do that.
Yes, I know.
Really don't.
No, it's obviously a labor of love. But yeah, well done. So another interesting item that came across, I saw this one on Facebook, and Enso Rings is now taking orders for their silicon rings, DC Comics rings. There are a couple in the series, but it's a rubbery kind of silicon material, ruby and sapphire colored Superman ring is this one, and it's 1.75 millimeters in thickness. It costs you $50 US, but yeah, it bends. It sits on your ring finger nicely, but yeah, it's flexible. So because it's made out of silicon, so I guess it's safe to use if you're like working around in different environments where you're worried about scratching your rings or catching them or what have you, ruining them. But yeah, there's a Flash, a Batman one, and a Superman one. So Enso Rings.
Mm-hmm. That's neat.
They are neat. So there you have it. $49.99 US Enso Rings. So yeah, and there's a couple of conventions taking place this weekend coming up. Springfield Comic Con in Massachusetts. You'll be able to see Robert Venditti and Keith Williams there. 605 Pop Culture Con in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Smallville and Supergirl star Sam Witwer will be there. And Montreal Comic Con. Tom Welling, Erica Durance, Kristen Krug, John Glover, and Lorna Vandervoort will be there across all 3 days. Michael Rosenbaum will only be there Saturday and Sunday. Other people who will be there will be Michael Shanks, Nolan North, David Ramsey, Gail Simone, Ken Lashley, Rags Morales, and Yannick Paquette. So a couple of cons coming up the weekend of July 14, 15, and 16. So if you're in the area, you want to check those out, get to those conventions. But that's pretty much it for tonight's show. Want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live. Want to thank all those who tuned in and participated in the comments. JP Rocha, Nathan Wicker, Nostalgic Podblast, Ian Sweeney. We've got so many others. Butson Enterprises, Matthew Cody, Fabio, Patrick, and so many others in the comments. Thank you so much, guys and girls, for joining us over this past hour. We appreciate your company. Mark didn't call in tonight. We hope Mark is well. He's just been pretty busy this last week. So shout out to Mark Lax, who usually calls in. So thank you for that comment. But Michael and I will be back next week. Don't forget, we've got our interview. We'll be looking forward to speaking to Kyle Troop of Kyle Troop and the Heretics from My Adventures with Superman. Until we'll be doing that on Monday, July 17th at 7:30 Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. We look forward to joining you, talking to you then. Hope you'll join us for that show. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. Thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And thank you to you, my co-host, Michael Bailey. Thanks, Mick.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
As I said, we'll be back next week. Thanks for your company, folks. Good night. Take care. See you then.